Hello friends, welcome to my channel Creating Essence. I am Megan. If you are new here, thank you so much for stopping by. If you're a returning subscriber, thanks for coming back. Today I am participating in a project by Jim and Rhenda over at the Heartiness Approach. I'll put up an iCard with their channel right here. They are a fantastic older couple who have really been working hard to show in practical everyday life how you can change your entire lifestyle for a wholesome, healthy one that has so many benefits. And their challenge was challenging really families how to tell the world how they eat real food. How to eat real food. That seems super simple. It doesn't really seem like a thing, but if you look at the grocery store shelves and the American diet today, you know that seems to be something that a lot of people don't know. And so it really does kind of need to be said. This challenge that Jim and Rhenda have presented is really a fantastic idea and a way to put practical tips and practical ideas in people's hands for how to transform their lives and their families' diets for the better. So here are 5 tips that I have for how we eat real food. Real, whole, unprocessed food. Number 1 would be we garden. I know that's not possible for everyone. Before we moved to this house a little over 2 years ago, we lived in a rental house and the HOA would not allow gardening. I completely understand that. I know it's not possible for everyone, but if you can garden, do it. It is incredibly easy, and not only is it so much less expensive than buying produce from the store, it also gives you so much more, and you just have so much at your disposal. For a single plant of tomatoes, a plant that cost you about, even if you didn't start it from seed, if you bought the plant from Lowe's and put it in a pot of soil from Lowe's, all told, that might cost you $2 to $3 if you had to buy the pot as well. That would cost you $2 to $3, and you can easily, even without having a terribly green thumb, from that plant, get enough tomatoes that if you bought them at the store, you would be spending easily $30 to $40 on them. It is so thrifty and so easy and so good for you. And there are so many things you can easily grow at home. And the number 2 way would be that we buy in bulk. We shop at Costco. We found that Sam's Club and BJ's and similar club stores were mostly processed food, and you could just get massive amounts of cans and huge jars of Prego spaghetti sauce and huge quantities of Cheetos and things like that that are just full of garbage ingredients. But we shop at Costco, where they have a lot of raw ingredients at good prices in bulk sizes, and we are able to keep it on a budget and cook from scratch and very easily do that in bulk from Costco. We also get wild-caught Alaskan salmon from Zaycon. Farmed salmon is going to be full of antibiotics and preservatives, and it's very unhealthy the way it's raised. Wild-caught fish it lives in its own natural environment, and the fishermen go to it and catch it. And Zaycon, I have found, is a particularly good source for that. I will leave a link to Zaycon below if you're not familiar with it. Zaycon isn't sponsoring this. If you happen to decide to sign up under me, well, sign up and put that I directed you to Zaycon, I will get an $8 credit. It's not something that makes or breaks me. It's nice, but I'm not making money off of recommending Zaycon. I really am not. I've been buying them from them for many years. And we also buy our beef in bulk. We have a friend who is a rancher about 2 hours south of us, and they grow grass-fed, which is organic by default. They just live on pasture. They're not fed anything that is full of pesticides. They don't spray their fields for weeds, and they don't treat their animals with antibiotics and growth hormones. They just grow it naturally the way it's been done for centuries. And once a year, we buy half a cow, which is very thrifty, and it's also all cuts all across the board for an excellent quality meat. So we're getting a good deal, and we're getting a really healthy, good for you product. So until we have the space and the ability to grow our own meats, we buy them from those more quality and also less expensive sources. The third thing would be what we can't buy in bulk like that or grow ourselves, we get at the farmer's market. The farmer's markets kind of have this reputation for being this place of privilege where the upper crust goes to buy local. If you go and look at the prices, you will realize that is not the case. You don't have a corporation to deal with as a middleman. You don't have anybody in the way. It's just you to the farmer. And 99% of the time when you buy something from the farmer, they are rounding down on the price. Like if they're weighing something per pound. For example, when I go to the farmer's market and I get zucchini, because my zucchini didn't grow this year, I always go to this one farmer because they have great zucchini that my family likes, and they sell it by the pound. And if it is over 50, like half a pound, 0.5, they will give me the extra half pound for free. And they always round down as far as their price goes. And most are like that. Most of them will give you extras. A lot of times if farmers have a huge bumper crop of things, their price is going to be lower because they would rather sell it for a lower price than watch it rot. And a lot of times if, let's say there's a hailstorm or something and their tomatoes have little dents in them, they will sell bulk tomatoes, like huge amounts, at wholesale prices. You don't have to buy a huge amount to get the wholesale price, but if you buy more than just 1 or 2 tomatoes, they will give, or you buy the dented fruit, they will give you a fantastic price on it. So I look for those deals, and I buy local because it's just me to the farmer. There's no markup anywhere in the middle. So if you haven't taken a look at your farmers markets to compare the prices to the grocery store, look at the farmers markets. And number 4 is, that I freeze and can food. And that's not like, when a lot of people, when they think canning, they think like this big production that their grandma used to do. You can do a big production. I haven't gotten there yet. I just am putting up extras. My family eats so much that I'm putting up extras where I can. And that doesn't always mean a huge production. That means when we got a whole bunch of peppers from the freezer, I chopped up the peppers into the size I usually cook with, measured it out into 2 cups a bag, and stuck them in a quart-size freezer bag flat in the freezer. And now if I need peppers at a later date, I have a bunch of bags of peppers in the freezer. And it just took me a few minutes of chopping peppers like I would normally cook with them, putting them in a bag, squeezing out the extra air, zip it up, lay it flat in the freezer. It was so easy. And things like that, or freezer meals. When you know it's going to be a crazy busy day, you can pull a meal out of the freezer to cook later, and that often helps me avoid buying pizza takeout. For example, if I'm making a meal that I know will freeze well or freeze easily, I will cook twice as much, which when I'm already cooking for a family of 7, that's a lot. So for smaller families, it's easier. But I'll cook twice as much, and as soon as it's cooled enough, I will pack it away in a big freezer pan, cover it, and put it in the freezer. And that way, when I know there's a busy day ahead of me in the future, I just pull that out in the morning to thaw while we're doing what we need to do all day, and then I stick it in the oven right before dinner time, and in usually around a half an hour, it's hot and ready to go. We do stuff like that with pot roast, lasagna, do that with soups. I will freeze up gallon-sized bags of soups that I can just pull out and thaw and cook with some grilled cheese or toast, things like that. There are lots and lots of ways to do that. Or if you just make a large amount of protein, like a huge pulled pork roast, I will pack it up into meal-sized portions and put it in the freezer. So then in the future, I just need to pull out that frozen meat and throw a couple sides in a pot on the stove, and in 15 minutes, it's dinner. And the 5th way is that I really do cook almost everything from scratch. And I know that's intimidating for a lot of people. You don't really realize how easy it actually is to cook your own food. A lot of people are intimidated and think they need to just buy these things and apply heat to them, and that's cooking a good meal for your family. When in reality, it is so much cheaper and so much healthier to buy the raw ingredients and cook it yourself. I do a lot of that pretty much with every single meal, but I have also been able over the years to make different things that most people don't think of really easily, like our bread products. I did it by hand for years. My oldest was born with a soy and peanut allergy, and if there's anything that's labeled as having vegetable oil in it, that is soy oil. And most breads were. So I started making bread, and it is easier than you think. I am blessed now to have a bread machine that I just pop the ingredients in and call it a night. I can put ingredients in before bed at night, and when we wake up, there's fresh bread. I can do that when I'm headed out somewhere, just put some ingredients in the bread machine and come home to fresh bread. And there are lots of ways to do that. You can also do it by hand. Like I have been doing it for years. I got my bread machine less than a year ago. So really for the last 10 years I've been making it by hand myself, and it is very simple. I'm going to include that recipe in the info box below, and I'm going to include here a clip of my recipe. You can use this recipe for cooking or making your bread by hand very easily, or you can use it in the bread machine. It works equally both ways. Thank you so much for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope the recipe was useful, and thank you so much, Jim and Rhenda, for including me in this challenge. I really hope this is helpful to someone or encouraging, and that you all start finding ways to include more real food in your everyday diet. Thank you so much, friends. Bye-bye.